points. So, I don't think I ever mentioned that, yeah, there are different weight classes in this game. We just played as all of the medium weight characters that you start out with. There are also large weights and light weights, or heavy weights and light weights. I may as well go ahead and start playing as some of the light weights, such as Koopa Troopa. As we have the Standard Cart S, the Booster Seat, and the Mini Beast. We may as well go with the Standard Cart. As we go into the Retro Cups. These cups consist of tracks that were in previous Mario Kart games and were brought back into this game to be raced on again, including Peach Beach, Yoshi Falls, Ghost Valley 2, and Mario Raceway. Now you may notice next to the names of the tracks are initials, which are pretty much representing the different consoles that these tracks were on. GCN for GameCube, DS for, well, DS, SNES for the Super Nintendo, and N64 for Nintendo 64. Let's get started. With Peach Beach from Mario Kart Double Dash. Got a lot of water on this one. Of course, because this was on the GameCube, it's obviously inspired after the GameCube game Super Mario Sunshine. A lot of Mario Kart Double Dash's aesthetics were, which makes sense. We already got 2 racers using the Piranha Prowler, which we just unlocked. Now, there's actually 2 brands you can pass in this whole beach section, along with these enemies called Cataquacks, which is pretty much this stage's whole gimmick. Of that, the Cataquacks will try running after you, and they will actually throw you into the air if you get close to them. They are enemies seen in Super Mario Sunshine that do a similar thing as seen in this game. And in that game, they will throw Mario into the air if gotten close, which can be used effectively in certain puzzles in that game. And you even have a cruise ship in the background, along with Daisy Cruiser, which is one of the tracks seen in Mario Kart Double Dash. Yeah, we also have this other area that, yeah, driving in the water will slow you down. However, going into the super dark water is pretty much considered out of bounds. You also got a fountain over there on the left. Now I believe you can actually drive around that if you want. I believe all you're rewarded with is an item box. Now actually in Mario Kart Double Dash, on the left right there was a warp pipe that you could enter and be launched out of. Well, there's another pipe that you could be launched out of. I don't know why they removed it in this game. It would be a cool way to do some tricks. But, oh well. I believe, yeah, there's some item boxes when driving around here. Pretty pointless overall, as it doesn't really give you... It's not really a shortcut, but it's there. And we got a 9-second lead. Next up is Yoshi Falls. It's got a giant Yoshi egg in the middle, with, of course, some waterfalls that will have item boxes flowing on it. Other than that, though, it's a pretty bland track, I'll be honest. I mean, look at that. The track is literally just a circle. I mean, I know Mario Kart DS was running on the DS, which, of course, had graphical limitations. It's a handheld system. So it makes sense that tracks like this were a little simpler. But it's weird that they brought this one in particular back into the very next Mario Kart game. I don't know. there were so many other, you know, cooler Mario Kart DS tracks they could have brought back. They could have brought back Luigi's Mansion. They could have brought back Waluigi Pinball. They could have brought back, I don't know, what's DK Pass. Although, to be fair, we already have DK Summon in this game, so I can kind of see why they didn't bring that one back. But, whatever. At least we do have these ramps we could do tricks off of. So that's kind of cool. So at least you get some branching paths and stuff. And a blue shell. Fantastic. Now, of course, with the laws of physics still apply with the waterfall, so you will be dragged down if you try to go across it without a mushroom. Which we probably won't be able to get a mushroom because we're in first place. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's the thing about holding items with the Wii Remote on its side. Because you're using the D-pad, it can be pretty finicky sometimes because it's a pretty small D-pad, so it's easy to accidentally slip on one of the up or down directions on it. Anyways, we got a 4-second lead on this track. Or, I did, but whatever, I guess I'm... With this whole Let's Play atmosphere, I'm really used to saying we. As in W-E, not the name of the system we're playing on. There I go again, saying we. Anyways, here's Ghost Valley 2 from Super Mario Kart. I hated this track as a kid. And I don't think it was that I was scared of it. I think it was more just pretty much this track's gimmick. In that the guardrails, if running into them, they will fall off. Or they will kind of break off. Also, this track has some pretty sharp turns. Considering that it has very square turns, considering it comes from the Super Nintendo, which wasn't the best at handling 3D perspectives. Although it did have Mode 7, which allowed for sprites to be warped to put a 3D perspective into play. It was also used in games like F-Zero, another racing game. Along with even other non-racing games like Secret of Mana, would also use Mode 7. That's also why it's a pretty simple track overall. Not really any complexity to it, it's pretty flat. It's also why the ground is pretty pixelated. It's because it comes from a game from 1992. And also he has a bunch of parts of the track without any guardrails at all, so it's pretty easy to fall. And there we go. With a 10-second lead. Okay. Ugh. On to Mario Raceway from Mario Kart 64. With some piranha plants on the side, a giant pipe, and there's even a giant Mario hat on the crowd stand. And look at that, there's even a spinning sign with Mario saying go. Alright, I'll go, Mario. Even got some other billboards, which we're seeing pretty often in Mario Kart 64. So just that one that says Koopa Kart. Now I believe some of these in Mario Kart 64 were meant to mimic actual brands. Especially in the Japanese version, which even had a parody of the cigarette company Marlboro, where they had a parody of it on a billboard called Mario Boro. That was not in the international versions, by the way, for obvious reasons. But we even have some new signs that say, like, Mario Racing, as you saw there, with a shine sprite from Super Mario Sunshine. I would not be surprised if that was reused from Double Dash, as with a lot of things in this game. I know I've gone on and on about it, but this game reuses a surprising amount of content from Mario Kart Double Dash. It's uncanny how much. Even down to the character models. I've probably already said that, but I wanted to make it a little more clear on how weird that is. And of course we also have retro music in the background, which I think it's the exact same music as heard in Mario Kart 64. I thought they would like remix it or something. Or, you know, make a new arrangement of it. But no, I'm pretty sure it's the exact same music, which is funny. Even the sign is the exact same Mario Kart logo as seen in Mario Kart 64. With very simple 3D letters. Seems like there was a lot of logos back in that era of the mid-90s. Of people figuring out, oh my god, we can make 3D logos? They just went all out with it. I mean, hell, Sonic R's title screen, that was from, I think, 1997. The R part of its logo just straight up spins on its title screen. Really cramming in that 3D. It's pretty funny, honestly. Uh-oh. No, so yeah, I believe in Mario Kart 64 you were not able to drive on the sides of this pipe and do well, obviously not do tricks off of it. But yeah, pretty cool that you can do it in this game. And we're done. We're now done with Shell Cup. And you even have pedestrians watching us, such as Toads, Shy Guys, and Birdos. Spoiler alert, by the way, these Shy Guys are actually not playable in this game, and they wouldn't be fully until the Mario Kart game after this, Mario Kart 7 for the 3DS. I don't know, it's kind of weird to see Piantas in, you know, non-Isle Delfino areas like this. I mean, I know they kind of are in other Mario spin-offs, such I think Mario Superstar Baseball for the GameCube had Piantas as playable characters, but it's still pretty weird. There we go. We've got a rank of 2 gold stars. Alright, who should we play as this time? How about Toad? Alright, may as well check out the Mini Beast. Another one of the lightweight vehicles, which has pretty good max speed. However, it doesn't have great off-road, but it does have really good drift and mini turbo. So we'll go with it. As we go through the Banana Cup, with the tracks Sherbet Land, Shy Guy Beach, Delfino Square, and Waluigi Stadium. So Sherbet Land is from Mario Kart 64. Of course, because from Mario Kart 64, of course it uses the penguins from Super Mario 64. It makes sense. Mario Kart 64 did have a lot of content in it based after Super Mario 64. Which makes a lot of sense because it was the most recent mainline Mario game at the time of its release. So, of course, these are the penguins that appear in the game's cool mountain map. And they're here now. Of course, looking better than ever. Although they kind of look like the penguins from... although, they don't look exactly like the penguins of Mario Galaxy. These are obviously based after the Mario 64 penguins, just with a higher polygon count. But that's also kind of what the penguins from Super Mario Galaxy were. But anyways, yeah, this course doesn't really have too much going on. I mean, it is an N64 track, so I just kind of expect that. That it's just kind of an icy track to where I believe you can see your racer's reflection, right? You should be able to. It's just kind of a flat track with some penguins roaming about. Which is kind of all you need, you know. Uh-oh. Dang it. Although, the ice should be a little slipperier than usual. Also, what's funny is that, yeah, if you fall into the water, it will be brought back onto the track in a cube of ice. That's kind of funny. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's see. What's weird is that in Mario Kart Double Dash, there's also a track titled Sherbet Land that is completely unrelated to this one. Which is very strange and kind of I think the only time that has ever happened with tracks that aren't, you know, the tradition tracks like, you know, every game having a Mario Circuit or a Bowser's Castle or a Rainbow Road. No, specifically 2 games both had unrelated tracks called Sherbet Land that were both, you know, winter themed. Or that one was more snow themed, while this was more ice themed. But you get the idea. I always called this track Sherbet Land as a kid. I guess I couldn't read properly quite yet. Uh-oh. And not only that, I always thought that because of that, I didn't realize what the word sherbet meant. I thought it was something that the Mario series made up. I thought the name of the names of the penguins within the Mario universe were called sherbets. So, yeah. Kind of like how the monkeys often in Mario are called ukikis. So, I guess that's kind of my thought process with thinking about it. But I think they're just called penguins in the Mario universe. I don't think they have a specific name. They're just penguins. Also, I'm pretty sure there was a teacher at my school that had the name Schubert, so I don't think that really helped. That kind of encouraged me to call it Sherbert rather than Sherbet. I don't know. Anyways, we got first place. On to the next race, which is Shy Guy Beach from Mario Kart Super Circuit from Mario Kart Super Circuit for the Game Boy Advance. Didn't realize how hard that is to say until now. So you may have noticed already, there are cannonballs on the track. That's pretty much this track's gimmick, aside from these crabs on the road. Who knows, they might actually be the sidesteppers from the Mario Brothers arcade game. But, who knows. And yeah, because this is from a Game Boy Advance game, the track itself is pretty flat. However, of course, they kind of hired the resolution of everything, along with having some 3D elements like these palm trees. It's funny that the water is still kind of the same frame rate as you would expect from a GBA game. It's like kind of having a low frame rate there. Yeah, there's also a Shy Guy ship over there. All the Shy Guy stuff, and yet they're not playable? Whatever. Hey, I believe that Shy Guy ship is a 3D model. It's hard to tell whether it's 2D or not. Or 3D, but I think it's a 3D model. Yeah. That would make sense. Also, you got some umbrellas that kind of pop open if you run into them. Of course, I wouldn't recommend running into them because they can slow you down. Speaking of slowing down. Okay. I don't know why that moves so slowly. Oh. Thank you. Apparently someone ran into that. Oh, it was Yoshi, apparently. It's kind of nice that on the mini-map on the bottom right, you're able to notice exactly when racers spin out. It's kind of useless information, but it's cool, I guess, to know, especially if, you know, you land an item and someone hits it, you could tell exactly who did. It's nice to know, I guess. Anyways, our next track is Delfino Square from Mario Kart DS. Which I guess is loosely based after Super Mario Sunshine, considering, you know, Delfino Square, and it's got piantas everywhere. Now, because I played this game before I ever played Super Mario Sunshine, I didn't realize what Delfino was referring to. I thought the piantas were actually called Delfinos themselves, and so that's what I always referred to them as a kid. So yeah, ain't that something. I guess I always just thought that the adjective of a track, or the first part of its name, always referred to a character. I guess I kind of can't blame myself entirely, considering, you know, many of the other stages are stuff like Peach Beach, Waluigi Stadium, DK Summit, you know? There's a lot of tracks that are named after characters, so I guess I can't be too surprised at myself for thinking that. So yeah, of course, this is because this is from Mario Kart DS. There's not too much going on in this track, especially compared to the Wii tracks. There are some branching paths here. It's kind of cool, but a lot of it is just kind of moving forward and seeing not too detailed environments. I know these are retro tracks, so I should kind of lower my expectations. But hey, at least there's some text on some of those signs. That's something to look at. There's also a shortcut on the right there if you use a mushroom. Just kind of just down a dirt path between buildings. Now, apparently on the top right as you finish a lap, it'll tell you your exact lap time, which I believe we got 1 minute and 5 seconds on the last lap. Apparently Daisy's got her own store. Or is it just a place that sells daisies? Who knows? Oh, by the way, on the right, there's a drawbridge. Which is kind of cool, especially in this game, because you could do tricks off of it, unlike in Mario Kart DS. Which might be one of the reasons why they brought it back into this game. I don't think this is a bad option, honestly, in terms of Mario Kart DS tracks to bring back. It's definitely more interesting than something like Yoshi Falls. Alright, we've got a total time of 3 minutes and 14 seconds. We got a pie time, I guess you could say. Alright, final race is Waluigi Stadium from Mario Kart Double Dash. You see, now this is one that makes sense to bring back in Mario Kart Wii. With all the stunts going on and stuff. They added a bunch of half pipes to this track. Which makes sense, considering, you know, this has a whole dirt bike stadium aesthetic to it. It makes sense that it's brought back into the game, the Mario Kart game, that has a lot of dirt bike and extreme sports influence, as this one. There's all these ramps and stuff to trick off of. It makes so much sense, you know? And to the point where it kind of feels weird playing this in Double Dash. It's got some nice music. Which, I was talking about this earlier. About how wildly different Double Dash and Wii's music is. To where a lot of the Double Dash tracks, including this one, kind of sound the same, to where they use a lot of the same instruments. Tracks like this is kind of what I was referring to. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. It's just that a lot of the Wii songs are so distinct from each other, while Double Dash's music tracks, while good, kind of blend together in some cases, especially since, like I said before, a lot of Double Dash's tracks share the same music. Uh-oh. Okay. And also, I guess it's just cool to see a character like Waluigi get their, very own racetrack, you know? Considering that the character Waluigi literally came from a Mario spin-off, and therefore it doesn't really have that much to base after, you know? Because his sole purpose of existing was to give Wario a partner for tennis. And now here he is owning a freaking dirt bike stadium. And a pinball machine in Mario Kart DS, just for the heck of it. Oh, and also like some of the other tracks, I think I talked about this more with Mario Raceway. The music here is identical to Mario Kart Double Dash's. It was not remixed for this game. Definitely wasn't until games after this one that would kind of go all out with the retro track remixes, especially Mario Kart 8 on Wii U, to where nearly every single track had their own unique music track that was new to the game. There weren't really any that were reused from previous games. They were, even all the retro tracks had remixes, which is super cool. And we got first place once again. But yeah, Waluigi Stadium is a super fun track, in my opinion. That feels right at home in Mario Kart Wii. Alright. Now we get to see what Toad's victory animation looks like. Pretty cool. Alright. And we got a 2 gold star rank. Very nice. And we can now play in the 50cc Leaf Cup for winning trophies in the 50cc Shell Cup and Banana Cup. Alright, let's continue.